We went to talk to those people. I'm glad we didn't hurt any of them too bad, except for that werewolf. That was still more than I expected.
Of course, they're expecting us. It's not exactly a quiet approach. The talks seem to start going relatively well, but just halfway through towards the end, maybe, it just fucking falls apart. Not in a bad way, but between Lorelei, Cillian, and everyone else, it just turns into a shit show of demons and bullshit and whatnot. Whatever that means, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me right now. We have things to do.
Dealing with the bitter hearts it went better than I thought it would. Well, up until Cillian started running his mouth, saying all sorts of horrendous shit to me, but he was right, so it's the worst part. Something's wrong with me. And I don't know what it is.
They didn't seem like bad people, but they did seem desperate. I really hope they can find a home soon. Wizards just wander around aimlessly.
So they seem relatively content in not picking people off the road anymore. I left my weapons with them because Avacyn knows that they needed a lot more than whoever's in this town.
One of the bitter hearts, the guy we were interrogating, he pulled me aside afterwards and said to be beware of some squirming devil, and I don't quite know what he meant. It might have something to do with this whole River Axe business. I wouldn't know.
It was pretty tense with the group after that. For some reason, I wasn't sure.
Everybody was standing about as far as humanly possible from them. Pulled them all together, had a heart-to-heart. After a few good cries, it seems everybody got it out of their systems. So
they talked a lot, and I think it helped. So I'm gonna hope there's gonna be less arguing. I hope. I'm not really sure how to make things better at all. You can just listen. It's okay. But anyway, when we got back to the town, there was a problem with the graph.
Don't know what it is. Can only assume that it's eating the dead bodies under the ground.
Something big under there. Something probably very dangerous. Hopefully it doesn't go to the rest of the town. It already has enough problems with people getting disappeared off the road and cows, suspicious cheese. Let's hope this can be solved quickly.
That night when I went to sleep, I saw Lars again. And it's not unusual to see him, but he talked to me. I hope he's not trapped in there. I thought he was resting. I hope he's not trapped.
Me and Lorelei, we kind of laid out what we think's going on in this town. So we're not certain, but we need to go talk to that cowboy sack of shit. His son knows something, he knows something. The milk and the dairy product and people being pulled off the road and an abundance of beef given to bandits, it does add up, and it adds up to something very fucked up, and I don't like it.
Asuriel is walking through the town by herself, observing the goings-on between the people, looks up at the mountains, an impressive landscape people going about their day-to-day lives as if there's nothing to worry about. They're safe within these walls with each other. They have their community. And then you start to feel heat on your face surrounding you. You look up and then you hear the eruption. The mountains split open on their tops. Fire and ash belched out into the sky. People begin to scream. Brimstone and hell rains down on this town. Most people can't make it out. And with it is an eruption of claws and wings and chittering demons and devils that come from the Ashmouth itself. There are few survivors, but mostly you watch as time passes and the bodies decay and the Farbog absorbs what was left of this town. It's like experiencing a memory, but one that isn't your own. And it's more the passage of time than any human should ever experience, as you find yourself standing in a bog with just the remnants of foundations barely peeking out of the grass, and nothing that anyone would ever call human civilization or a home left in this space. And that's when you're awoken for the watch with Amrita.
Oh.
And I'd like Amrita, Cillian, and Acrio to give me just a brief glimpse into some nightmare you've had while staying in Silbern. It doesn't have to be related to the events, but just something that's shaken you in the past few days, made you wake up in a cold sweat.
Worst nightmare ever isn't like fighting a demon or like dying on the battlefield or evil or zombies or anything like that. It's like this dreaded panic of him being one-armed alone in this dreary field back home, and just the thought like everything he's worked for is gone and he's just nobody now, and it's just him standing there in like an infinite field, no words, no sound, maybe a light breeze, but it's just being forgotten and being disposed of, which kind of sends him into a anxiety attack.
Cillian would be sitting around the campfire with his family, singing, dancing, just among them, even among the ghosts, which wasn't such a bad thing back then. And in an instant, he would be alone. Not even Riken there. Not a single person. Utter aloneness. An incredible fear of this.
I'll say in the midst of the night, Amrita finds herself back in a similar forest area. William had killed Bastion, but instead it's reversed, where she sees Lorelei with her nightmares and probably the bodies of Asuriel, Cillian, and Acrio. But one of the bodies is also closest to her and her hands are bloodied, and she's absolutely terrified, but sees that same nightmarish thing probably follow Lorelei and turn back and look at her and it freaks her out. Wakes up seeing all of them dead because of the two of them.
The sound of a wolf's cry at the moon splits your ears as you wake up suddenly within a jolt. But you don't have time to think about that right now. The sun is just coming up. You're in the graph with Asuriel, and there are bigger issues at hand, not only within the town, but within your current proximity.
Yeah, she's making sure they're hurrying back to the church and make sure that everybody is awake. I know what is in the graph or have a guess, but we all need to have the meeting and discussion. Perhaps a private one first so we can figure out some stuff. I have a couple of ideas that might help us.
Well, congratulations, we're in the Church of Avacyn, so it's about as private as we're going to get.
The priestess Renfert will say, I will leave you to it. I do have some morning preparations. Most of you are fairly sore from having slept on wooden pews and no mattresses or anything. It's been a hard night's watch. It's not quite as bad as over the road, because there's not quite as much anxiety that you have to wake up at a moment's notice to defend your life, but it's still a little stiff.
I'm
Good
never
news.
sleeping in a church again.
Oh, it's delightful.
So quiet here, though.
You know what? It is better than sleeping in the mountains, though. There, you gotta, like, organize the rocks to try and make, like, some kind of bed. Not pleasant at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Anyway.
life of travel, but yes.
News.
The good news.
You have it.
The good news about the graph is that it's not undead related, but it's rather something that eats the dead, eats corpses. But it can also be rather deadly for the living, because there is a type of mucus or saliva that can paralyze the body. She goes into these things about it, what she knows. I need to read up more on it, but I do not believe either of these are connected. This is rather, in my head, something separate, and if we were to take it on, I think if we are to be traveling with each other, none of us really have a money to our name either. I once knew someone who did contracts, and if we could figure it out, I could write us a contract, and we could probably try and get compensation for this on the side. Maybe we could even bring this to the attention to one of the main people in charge and try to get closer at the same time to figuring out what's going on in the town with the cheese.
Tough balancing act. Are we taking this thing on then?
Well, we kind of have to, don't we? We can't let it go up to the town.
Did anybody follow it to see if it left the
There.
grave site?
From what I noticed is that it is not in the area as of yet, because when they have enough amount to eat, they're satisfied. But the only problem is I cannot gauge how many there are. There's obviously more than one.
Acrio, didn't we notice something about it?
About not being related, we've got a slight issue. And I'll usher everybody to follow us, and I'll talk along the way. It's got a little bit of bias towards who it's eating and who it's not eating. It's avoiding the grave of, I believe, the late daughter of the rancher.
Yeah.
Are these
So-
intelligent creatures?
Would Amrita recall if they're intelligent creatures or not?
You haven't studied them yourself in a while. You can make a history check, which would have advantage from your hunter's bane.
Just throwing this out there. What if it wouldn't go there because there's nothing to eat? What if she's not even dead? What if they only said she was dead?
Amrita, you would know. You would recall that they're a monstrosity, but they're not particularly intelligent. They are driven by the most base of needs. But Lorelei's idea does have some merit to it. It's possible. But a lot of creatures can also be warded with angelic spells and other means. So you're not entirely sure which one it would be. You'd have to check.
Yeah.
Regardless of
I'm not exactly sure. As I said, I need to read this and read into it now because they are just creatures of that sort. But whether or not it could possibly be undead or something ward related, I need time to go find perhaps the library, or maybe the priest would have something on that.
Regardless of the reason it's avoiding the grave, it has something to do with Cooper.
So, Amrita, Cillian, how about you two focus on figuring out how to kill this creature and get rid of it? While us three, and I look at Asuriel and Lorelei. Oh, hey, Val's here too.
No, he went home for the night.
He has his own place. He's not here with the scrubs.
Oh, he's too cool.
Hang out with us scrubs.
Yeah, no, but yeah, Amrita will say that to Cillian's like, oddly enough, yes, because I think if I am to assess what may or may not be in dairy and use of alchemy supplies, I might need your assistance, Cillian, on speaking to Val and discovering if maybe perhaps that monster, whatever Lorelei saw, could have done whatever it is to him.
Looking forward to our bonding time.
One thing at a time. The rancher can wait till later, figure out how to kill the creature.
Creatures, specifically Acrio.
I am mighty hoping there's not more than one creature down there. Anyway, we are going to do a bit of grave digging because the only way we're going to know what's down there is by going down there.
Would it be safe to do right now?
Well, if it comes up, we have 3 people to take care of it.
But you must beware of the mucus and the saliva, because again, it could paralyze you, and even though they primarily eat corpses, they can still attack and change their mind otherwise to eat the living instead, which is why we need to figure out what can counteract perhaps the saliva.
That is why there are 3 of us.
How potent is the mucus? If we wore gloves while digging, would that give us a bit of a barrier? Just in case we strike it?
Would it, Jake?
I mean, it does require skin-to-skin contact. Given what Lorelei and Acrio had seen of them seeming to make their subterranean tunnels around that grave, there's not likely any in that anyway, but it is a risk. It's more of a concern if you happen to dig one up unsuspecting.
Whoops.
Yeah.
You could probably try, but it would require skin-to-skin contact with that. But that's very huge risk again.
I will worry about the risk. You do what you do best.
Don't think we're going to find a lot of books here. Especially not on obscure grave monsters. But we can try.
We'll try and look, and then if last resort, we can always ask the woman of the church.
And I think we should inform Casper.
Not yet.
Not yet? Why not?
Keep him out.
Okay. If you say so, boss.
There's a whole lot of weird here, and keep it out of his ears for now.
Okay, you got it. Even though there's a whole lot of weird, there's still a whole lot of people who might be in danger.
I hope the children are okay.
The quicker we act,
People
the quicker they will be.
Yeah. The quicker we are about this, the less time they'll be in danger.
Yes. Anyway.
Yes, hurry. Go.
Yeah, sure. We'll go.
Yeah, and Rita's going to go to the town and see if she can find or look around if there may be any books or a bookshop.
Before we leave, I do want to ask, what's her face? Priestess Renford.
Renford.
If there's anything Monster Hunter guides.
During her preparations for the morning, as well as your special request to deal with the body that you had brought in of the woman, she will say, not here. If you are looking on that sort of thing, the most likely place would be the Tower of Silbern, where the Cathars make their watch. Casper would be the one to talk to, although I agree with your friend. Keeping him in the dark might be best. I suspect, and have for a while, that the plague on this town, this curse, is somehow related to him. I do not know how. But the time he came and the time it started lines up too much for coincidence, in my own estimation.
I can make up a story. We're good.
I would ask a favor.
Of course.
Please don't let this incident with the graph become public knowledge. I don't want to stir up a frenzy in the town, and people dislike the idea that their dearly departed have been consumed by anything. It's almost worse than them coming back.
That makes sense. I'll keep it quiet.
Thank you, thank you. As the rest of you are going to leave, the priestess will call, Asuriel, if I may have a moment.
Oh, yes. What is it? What's going on with it?
I don't wish to bother your necessary activities for the day, but I wondered if you might assist me with the preparation of this body. It is quite a bit for one person. And you seem to have some acclamation to the work of the church.
I can try. I'm not sure what to do exactly, but I can try and help.
If you would be so kind. I need an assistant. Really, it's just, there's a lot to do.
She's gonna look at Acrio and Lorelei. Is that okay?
What's the Asuriel strength score?
0.
All right. No. Well,
Yes, her score, it's a 0. She has no strength. She's physically, she's an ooze.
Yeah.
Flat.
I'll look at Asuriel, and then I'll shuffle up to the priest, and I'll do a little bit of whispering, and I'll tell her that we need to inspect the grave of Heather Hillcrest.
The priestess is shocked. And why?
The creature is avoiding the grave, and we need to know if it's boarded or if there isn't anything down there.
You wish to exhume the coffin?
We need to know, one way or another.
It's not going to sit well in town. Make a persuasion check.
Yep. Can I take the intimidation of Lorelei standing behind me with her baggy
Why am I
eyes?
intimidating?
Are you trying to? You're trying to frighten her into?
No. I'm persuading, but I'm gonna steal Lorelei's intimidation from being so
Creepy.
Persuasion. Yeah, creepy.
I'm not creepy, I'm lovely.
Hey!
Oh shit.
Big man on campus.
Oh wait, I have my human determination back this way.
Don't, it doesn't fucking matter.
What
Yeah.
Acrio doesn't know is that Cillian slapped his ass on the way out.
Thanks for the good luck, bro.
I suppose if it's necessary, I will make excuses to Cooper if it comes to that.
It has to be
Please,
done one way or
I
another.
trust the chosen of the angels to be respectful of the dead.
We have a grave cleric right here, and she serves the angels. Will be as respectful as can be.
Really, if you say so.
She seems
I rolled a
convinced of
nat
you, not so
20
much.
for
Not, she's convinced of you. She's not convinced of me.
She's gonna let you do it. Doesn't mean she likes it.
All right, let's do this quick. Lorelei, you have to do the digging because I only have one arm.
Oh, okay. Do you have a shovel at least? I don't.
I do.
Good.
What is Amrita doing?
I thought we were walking away, or I don't know what we're doing now.
I
I had a plan. It's not going to be a good plan then, I guess, if nobody wants to, because if we talk to them, it could be bad.
No, I want to go to Casper.
All right, fine. Well, we're just going to go to Casper then, visit him, visit old chump.
See if he's at his house. If he's not, just walk on onto the tower.
He is not at his house. However, when you knock at the door, Myra answers the door, looking a little bit cleaner and less living underground than she had before.
Hey,
it's interesting. She does have. She's still carrying that little broom that she had found, but you can see that she's been sweeping up inside. Uncle Cillian.
Hey there. Sorry, I was planning on visiting you. Only stuff got in the way. Too long to get into it right now. How are you doing?
Good. Better than I would have expected. This is an okay town.
Yeah, sure. Good, you're having a good time. Casper isn't home?
No, he's at the tower. Left this morning.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just curious if you had talked about going to Vistani, and I'm not saying I don't want to, but I mean, the captain's really nice, and I hate being out on the road any more than we have to.
I've been thinking about it, and I don't really see a way, but I also don't think there needs to be. For now, at least. We might talk later in a bit more detail once I've got my fucking shit figured out, but I think time will carry you to them in some way or another. I don't think you have to seek it out. Just be open to it.
Okay, I will. Have you and has she eaten breakfast yet, or?
No. We had a small one, actually.
All right. I did want to say, would you and everyone, if I were to make dinner for y'all, would you want to come join us and just say thank you for everything with the other kids that found places where they belong?
They found great places. I've been to a couple of families. They seem to really want to take him in. Some had some convincing to do, as you know, another kid into your life, but I think there's a place for them here. And yeah, I think we'd love to.
Okay, yeah. I'll tonight maybe, or tomorrow. It's whenever, I guess.
I'll come back and update you. Yeah, make sure we're all available.
Good.
Okay.
Can't wait.
It's good that you're doing good, Myra. Nice to be in the air.
I'm just glad it stopped raining.
Yeah, that's been shitty. Rain's not for me. Listen, we won't be here for forever. Might be here for like a week or so, maybe a bit more.
I would hope not. God. Amrita just groans and is like, I imagine she's staring off and looking for a clock.
While you're here, would you keep an eye on the kids for me? Make sure the families they're in, treat them right.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I wouldn't dream of not.
Thanks.
I mean,
I just leaving them, but
I feel partially responsible for everything they went through. None of us deserve that.
As long as you see that you didn't deserve it either. Have a good day, Mara. I'll swing by.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And as we're walking away, Amrita, I'm like, she's gonna feed us cheese.
God damn it.
Also, what is this we business? What if you're going and I'm not? I don't do dinners. They're not my thing.
You don't do dinners. Well,
Around
maybe you
people.
should. They can. It's like the friend building exercise. Food is a great thing to bond over. Trust me.
Yeah, I thought.
Especially if it's awful and makes you fat.
Oh yeah, would you believe me if I once said I went to a dinner at a vampire's estate and they were trying to feed us human flesh?
You know, honestly, yeah. That seems pretty par for the course.
What did you mean the other day when... I'm quite curious, but you said if there was a curse, then you'd blame yourself or something for joining up with us.
Oh, that was kind of making Lorelei feel a little bit better. But also, yeah, you know, fuck it, fine, yeah. If we're gonna start being friends, I'm gonna have to start being more open, you know? I'm dead in a couple of years, like, for sure. I mean, we probably all are, that's true. But it's hard to not take it personally. When you know, you know.
How... I see, that seems very unlikely to me, but...
No, pretty much, like, ill. Some people believe it's a curse. I don't think so. Might be. But I'd be double cursed. That seems a bit sucky. No, this shit, it's like slowly spreading, and once it's completely there, I'm gone. That's how Reigen died. He's like 19, was 19.
And yet he managed to somehow get around because you're here now.
Oh yeah, I'm probably gonna find a way to annoy you even in the afterlife. That's like my main goal.
I would prefer not.
You-
It's already bad.
Can I have you make a deception check, please?
Thank you.
Oh god.
Ooh.
Deception? What?
Yeah, there's something about that Cillian is definitely not saying. And making light of it, obviously.
You can be pretty persuasive but a horrible liar, but I have my own stuff I don't care to talk about or discuss. Besides, you already all know too much about me, and I'd hate for the time comes when Acrio will soon find out.
I think I'll be fine with it. Whatever it is.
I don't think so.
We just had this like entire like breakthrough yesterday. I think you can lean on it a little.
I can lean on it, but when you wake up every day of your life and see the very failure that follows you around and the fear of what will happen to the others around you, it never leaves. And there was another Cathar who did almost kill me, and I allowed it to happen. I almost died in the same night as Lorelei did, but another of our friends stopped it from happening. And sometimes I think about that. There's only one thing that keeps me now from wanting to go, but sooner or later, I'm gonna have to leave. Not be a part of the group, but I will now, just because should anything bad happen, for me to focus on the matter at hand. Now you know that I was probably doing something suicidal, and who's to say I wouldn't stop Acrio from doing the same.
You know, you have this way of talking which like really brings down the atmosphere. I don't know if you know it. Just as like a hint, maybe you can smile a little. Although that was a bit depressing and probably morbid to smile
And
through.
you have a way
But,
of
you know-
flirting with everything and anything that walks for whatever weird amount of reason, making just back and forth banter.
never gonna say no.
Are you on your way to the tower or
Yeah.
elsewhere in within the city? All right, then yeah, you can make your way outside the walls. It's a solid 20-minute walk down a well-trodden path, past this little lake that has formed. There's a shimmer on the water as the clouds have thinned in the sky, not quite to the point of seeing the sun, but you still get those glints of light off of the ripples. On your way there, Acrio and Lorelei have set about exhuming a coffin.
Yep.
What is Acrio doing other than just observing with his one arm?
So when Lorelei puts the shovel in the ground, Acrio stomps it into the dirt with his foot and then helps her lift it, but then she's gotta like throw it off to the side.
I've got to direct it, but you're putting some power behind it.
Yeah. I can't lift the shovel up with one hand.
It's a quiet morning. A bit of a mist has settled in over the graph due to the heat that's come through after this rainstorm. The hawthorn trees that kind of surround this graveyard fairly still. There's not even much of a breeze anymore. So it's just a rhythmic sound in the quiet of metal hitting mud, boot hitting shovel, and then you have to pull and slop it because the ground is quite saturated. It makes it very difficult. I need one of you to roll a percentile, please.
I'll do it. Because
Okay.
Acrio's only got one arm.
Hey.
There's a point at which, while you're trying to dig a rather large hole in this muddy ground, that you get close to one of the tunnels made by these creatures, and the side of this hole that you've started to dig collapses in. I need whoever's digging, which would be Lorelei, to make a dexterity saving throw.
Ah.
Can I give her any help?
You can kind of like grab her arm or something, but the ground beneath the sod layer on top is so wet and it collapses both directions. The mud goes into the tunnel, but then it also falls back on you, nearly pushing you over. You tumble the side up against the wall. Acrio can try to grab you, but it's almost up to your knees in mud.
Oh. Gee. Grab like my skirt, my cloak, and just like try and lift it up. Just.
Yeah, I'll pull her up out of the mud with my one good arm.
And set back to work.
Yeah,
Yep.
back to work.
Thanks.
It becomes increasingly unpleasant as the sun is higher behind the clouds. The water from the ground just starting to evaporate even more and making the air heavy and muggy.
I flip the hood down.
It's for a wolf.
You do not, however, encounter any of these creatures, save for the tunnel where they had moved through in the previous night, before finally the shovel hits something solid.
Okay. And I'll kind of get down on my knees, plates in the mud, use my shield arm to kind of move mud out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Do you still have the shield attached to it?
Yeah, I'm not gonna walk around with like just like stub. I'm trying to ignore the fact
We're putting
that
a pin in it.
Yeah, we're putting a pin in it.
So effectively you have to take this shield and like scrape up mud like it was a shovel and kind of lift it up and shake it off to get everything moved. But you reveal an several-year-old, by the look of it, pine box. Just completely filthy.
This is our last chance to decide that this is a terrible idea and to turn back.
Gotta know what's in there. Well, first I'll inspect the box. Is there anything unique about the box?
It's fairly simple. You can make an investigation check.
While he's investigating it, could I begin ritual casting detect magic to see if I can see any detect any wards that may be
Sure.
on it? That's a theory that we're running with. Yeah, I'll take 10 minutes and just trying to attune into the magic in the earth.
Acrio, you don't find anything particularly odd about it. It's simple pine wood construction like you've seen 1,000 times in Stinzia. Seems to be a fairly common. It's not particularly fancy, which some of the wealthier people do prefer a little more ostentatious coffins.
It's almost out of place because it's the coffin of one of the richest people in town. I'll relay that to Lorelei as I'm kind of dusting off or brushing off the coffin.
Lorelei, can I have you make an insight check? In addition to
give her
the
guidance.
Magic, yeah.
Because it's magic.
I mean,
can I give her guidance?
You don't know that she's doing this.
You don't know that I'm thinking.
I don't know it. Okay. It's not part of the spell casting.
No. Yep.
Fuck.
Sure.
I'm focused on. Yeah, I'm focused on the spell. I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly. But yeah, once you go through the ritual, the entire area, as far as your senses perceive with this magic, kind of illuminates with this whitish, bluish aura off of many of the gravestones, the symbols of Avacyn. There seem to be a decent amount of wards, but you know that most of them are channeled specifically from Avacyn's power. And so while the wards might be in place, the lack of Avacyn you've seen in other situations is faltering. There are a fair number concentration on this grave as well, not more or less than you would expect.
Okay, so nothing out of the ordinary, really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, she'll just relay that, like, nothing that we don't expect to see here.
Nothing out of the ordinary almost makes it more out of the ordinary.
This is only supporting the theory that I had that she's not even in there.
Oh. Let's open it up.
Are you pulling the coffin out of the ground or just staying down in the pit you've created?
I think we should stay here, maybe?
I don't want to be trapped in a hole with whatever might be in that coffin.
But also, do we want to bring that coffin out where it can be seen?
I think it's the most respectful if we properly pull the coffin out, inspect it, and then put it back instead of like, crowbar while we're in the grave.
Okay, fair point. Okay, let's hoist it out of here.
The box is fairly heavy, but given enough time, you guys can both pull and pry the box. It's kind of stuck in the mud. There's obviously that vacuum that's created when you try to pull it out until some air can get underneath it, and eventually you can pull it up the side and out of the hole that you've created.
And there's an obscene amount of cursing. It's like Acrio's like stubby shield arm like slips in the mud as he seems visibly annoyed at the struggle to get the crate out.
Is there anything in that Avacyn book about swearing, Acrio? Because you're doing a lot of it.
I don't need this right now, Lorelei.
Okay, sorry.
As you pull the box out, you start to see there is a muddy water that's kind of like leaking out of it.
Alright, attempt to do one more bad idea, and I'll take my axe that I have that I never use, and I'll gently put it against the because they hammer it shut, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll pry it open carefully.
Takes a couple swings to get it exactly between the lid and the rest of the coffin, right near the nail. But you do, and you pull sideways, feeling the rusted nails start to give. It squeals as you pull open, but it creates a gap where you can use the head of the axe to then go down and pull the nails all along one side for bracing the fingers of one of your gauntlets, the one that you can actually use inside, and pulling the rest of the nails until the lid flips open. You see a lined bed of what were at one point probably satin, lining and pillows, drenched in mud. This whole coffin is kind of saturated from the rainwater, but there is no corpse within.
I
Oh,
fucking knew
Lorelei.
it.
We have a problem. Where the fuck is this person?
I called it. I fucking knew it.
So where is she? Is she dead? Is she alive?
The fact that they went to all this trouble of setting up a gravestone, even putting a coffin in there, must mean that this is some kind of cover-up. If not, that she's already been taken out of here.
Do you know how old she was when she died?
I don't think he ever mentioned it at all, did he?
Didn't give a specific age.
How old?
Yeah.
How big does the crate look? Does it look like for an adult?
Yeah, it's adult size, it's not child
standard-
size. It's standard
full
full
size.
size, yeah.
Okay.
While that's going on, Asuriel, you assist the priestess Renfort. She's not quite as adorned in all of her armor and leathers as she is usually when she's out and about. You don't know if that's just because it's so hot now, or if that's just because she wears those when she's out, and right now at the church she has more important things to attend to than possible vampire attacks in the middle of the day. But the body of that werewolf woman, the one working with the bitter hearts, is laid out on a slab, and you have assisted her in preparing the body for burial. When you start to notice, she leans into one of the wounds, one of the stab wounds on the shoulder, kind of down the clavicle, and reaches over to tweezers and starts picking a little bit and holds something up. Just a small fleck of metal. I'm sorry, I wasn't going to ask, but why is there silver in this wound?
Oh, she's a werewolf. Well, was a werewolf.
I love a cereal.
No! Bruh.
Renfort
Honesty.
sets down her tools. Then we have a small problem. Of course, I can prepare the body for burial so she's not affected by necromancy, at least not for the time the wards would hold, but I'm afraid I cannot allow to be buried in the graph.
Oh, why not?
Well, werewolves are not allowed. It's strictly forbidden by the church.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
They are beasts. They are creatures of the wild. They do not belong with the rest of humans. It's not my choice to make. I'm sorry if this offends you, but this is the way it is.
Alright. I don't know, it just doesn't make much sense to me.
Their souls are not the same as ours.
How so?
There's a dual nature to a werewolf. The second soul, that of a wolf, that takes over them at times, but it is always present. Their geists are not the same. It's a curse. As such, it would taint the graph, and we would have to bury outside. I can make preparations for this.
Would it be possible to make a separate graph for them then?
It's a separate graph. I mean, you could, if you wanted to take them to a pilgrim's graph in Gavany, that would be your choice, but for the time being, no. We're not going to dedicate space within our own town walls for such beasts.
Alright then. Well, at least finish up with her and make sure whatever comes after she is able to rest well.
We certainly don't want undead. This will make this thing much quicker. Much less care has to be taken.
Kara, look at the door. The gift, Amrita. There's no way I'm burying you out in the wilds, lady.
What's Val up to once the morning comes?
It would depend. How early does the doctor get up?
He's usually up at the crack of dawn or just before.
Okay. Because Val would have tried to sneak into his room while he was still asleep.
Mm-hmm. Make a stealth check.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's go. Okay.
So, in the pre-dawn hours, you've gotten enough sleep after the watch and everything for this creature that's out there. You make your way across the hall with a small candle on a little stand, just enough light for your one good eye to make things out. You've become aware of the floorboards that creak on this upper area, and you kind of avoid those getting closer to the doctor's room. You know he doesn't keep it locked. He's not paranoid in that way. He's less concerned with, or at least visible, tangible threats. You push the door open just slightly. There's that vertical beam of light from the candle through the slit, and you can see he's not in his bed.
Do I see him anywhere in the room?
Peeking your head in a little bit further and scanning about, doesn't look like it.
Holy shit. Okay. Val would enter the room, kind of try to see if like there's any indication where he could have went.
His bed is not even slept in. It's immaculately made. He's pretty organized. It's a bit of an organized chaos, but everything is where he would know it would be.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few papers strewn about and notebooks and different tools, things in soaking in alcohol that he's had to clean.
Okay. So it doesn't seem like he took like anything extensive with him. It's not here. And I assume like, but Val has seen him like come out of his room more or less like.
Oh yeah, like he usually sleeps here.
Val is gonna wait. Just sit down on the bed, just waiting.
Okay.
Just basically till dawn. Like
sure.
See if like the doctor comes back.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have you roll a Constitution save to see if he falls back asleep during that time.
You said check, right? Not a save.
I said save, but either way, whichever one you want to do.
Cool. Well, I mean, with a saving throw would be a +2, so 17.
Sure. Either way, you find yourself kind of like leaned up against the wall at times, nodding off, but you don't think for very long. You kind of shake yourself awake. There's a moment where you try to hum a tune that you remember from the Vistani, and no sound is emitted.
Yeah.
But a little bit after dawn, you start to hear shuffling movement on the lower floor.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear the front door open. There's a bell that indicates when people come and go, and you do not hear that. The floorboards on the stairs start to creak under heavy boots as someone is entering the upper area.
Okay, and it doesn't sound like they're deliberately quiet. They're just normally walking, or
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't guess it to be someone creeping. It's more just
Okay, just
someone walking upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm, okay. Yeah, he will, like in preparation, kind of pull out a sheet of paper and kind of scribble down, where were you? And kind of just wait.
The light starts to stream through the windows, creating the silhouettes of several of these flowers that he has sitting in the sill, cast on the floor. You hear the footsteps approach the door, but then stop, and then push open the unlatched door as you see the leather-clad figure in this beaked mask seemingly staring back at you, but it's hard to tell because you can't really see his eyes. What are you doing in here?
Yeah, he's just holding up the frickin' piece of paper.
Takes a step forward, reads it. Kind of like puts his hands behind his back and I'm afraid I passed out in the workshop. Shouldn't have. Bad for the spine.
Oh my god.
You can make an insight check if you'd like.
Yeah, like I that's what I'm contemplating. Like Val would believe him, but there's so much strange shit going on that he's.
And I would say you have disadvantage because it's very hard to read somebody whose face is entirely obscured and
Yeah.
his entire demeanor.
Ugh.
Seems believable enough, although you maintain a level of suspicion. But you do know that he's been spending a lot of time working on his alchemy, on different experiments, so it's not unreasonable that he might have gone so late into the night that he just fell asleep at the workbench.
Okay, but his workshop is inside the house, right?
Yep, it's on the main floor.
Okay. Did it look like anybody was like working late in the night as well, like passing by? Does he?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably so. There was light under the door.
Okay. Vel stops being tense to an extent, kind of sort of relaxing, and kind of just looks at him before grabbing the piece of paper again. What were you doing?
While you write, he kind of like lets you do that as he goes over to several of the flowers in the vases, taking a pair of small shears and snipping a few of them, looks back to see what you've written. My work. I'd appreciate it if you stay out of my rooms from now on. Did you sleep?
He just very reluctantly nods, as if like the doctor probably knows that he doesn't like to sleep.
Yeah, but he's been trying to make you, which is why he'll say, good.
Val kind of, seeing as I assume the doctor would, apart from that, just continue like going about his business, not really paying him any tug on his sleeve for a moment.
Is there something you require?
He would point at the mask, and he very slowly would kind of try to reach up to push up the mask a bit so that he can kind of.
Dr.
like,
Mueller
peer
immediately
under.
grabs your wrist. Too dangerous. And he'll like push your hand down.
Okay.
As I said, I can make you another one if you're concerned.
So kind of grabs the piece of paper again and then just kind of stops before writing, "Forget about it," and then just kind of moves out.
He'll take the paper, hold it as you leave, look back over his shoulder with that beak kind of like silhouetted in the light of the window as you leave.
Yeah, after that, they would probably, if they're like errands to run, he would kind of take a look at what is like to do for the day.
There's a certain amount of chores that you have.
Yeah, but he
you
also
can set
does
apart
like shit
those.
at the graph, so he would probably, before he like goes about his business with like errands, kind of go outside and try to make his way back there to see if anything crazy happened while he was away.
On the road to the tower, Amrita and Cillian, you pass by several Cathars, both posted and kind of going to and from the tower and the city of Silbern proper.
Morning.
Morning.
You know, and sometimes they don't even do that. They just stare at you like you've stabbed them or something.
How's that?
You know, they don't say hi back.
Who's
I've got
they?
a lot of death glares.
Ignore what he's saying.
Cathars, some.
Well, that's not so weird.
Is the Mr. Lowe about?
Captain, yeah, you'll find him in the tower.
Ah, thank you.
Good. We'll be on our way then. Good day.
Keep an eye out for the bloodsuckers.
Always.
Ominous. We will.
The tower, as you can see, is this leaning monstrosity, 5 or 6 stories tall easily, with a pitched roof. The whole thing is like braced up with timbers that you imagine should be creaking under the weight of it as it's braced against almost this smaller hillside that's been dug out and shored up. But the tower gates, or I guess the large doors, are open. Set of guards kind of set around a campfire outside, all just kind of going about morning business, making meals for themselves. As you pass by, you see one with like this hunk of cheese that he's just takes a bite out of, nods to you.
I kind of turn to Amrita and make sure no one's close enough to hear. What do I say if you ask about the weapons? Just that we're working on it?
Yeah, why not? You're the one that lies a lot.
Yeah,
Should
but
be pretty easy
apparently
to do.
not that good, since you saw through one of mine just a second ago, which is like new for me.
I'm sure it's just me. Maybe I'll try and help you or something with that. We'll figure it out.
No, I think I can do it. I just wanted to, discuss battle plans.
Okay, to discuss that, just say that's still in the making of trying to get the weapons. We could say that we're curious about perhaps doing some kind of hunting for any nearby stuff we've heard about lately. Would there have been anything Amrita would have recalled that her mentor might have ever had to be contracted for certain things that comes to her head?
I mean, there are lots of creatures out there. Whether or not you can get paid to kill them is depending on how desperate the locals are.
But they can't know if in an uproar, but I would say that maybe if there's anything going on at all, we could offer services maybe in the meantime, along with the weapons or something, see how that goes, try to make something up.
Okay, I will. Are the bodily affected? Are they like Or is like some of them fat or like weird looking or
You would definitely see some of these cathars are a little heavier than you'd expect. You know, cops who have eaten a few too many donuts. You know, other things. They look like the people of Silbern. Like there's not a lot of distinction. But I mean, that's an eclectic group.
Sure. We'll approach the tower.
Stepping inside, you find that the ground floor is partially barricaded off with these stones that have just been set 2 feet high, maybe stacked, not in a solid wall, but just to create a little barrier where you can see the floorboards are sunken so much that past that and then lapping past them a little bit is a level of water where the tower itself at the base has started to flood. However, to your right, there's a set of spiral staircases that kind of like go around the edge up to the next level.
And there's no one in the flooded room?
No. Everybody was pretty much outside because it's kind of small because the barricade covers most of the room where it's just flooded water past that. It's kind of just set up to be you can get to the stairs. There's probably a few flagstones that have been set down to keep kind of a pathway higher up.
This place really is in disrepair.
Guess it's the ground or something. What was it again? I already forgot. It's good to keep up appearances. Anyway, last one up the stairs, a rotten neck. Sprint up.
Yeah, you can run up. There's a level of cathars. There's you can see areas where they've got weaponry, and you see a rack of like studded leather and leather armors, all of which have very high collars, neck protection, as well as like heavy arm bands and that sort of thing for all of the weak points where a vampire might be able to attack. But eventually toward the top of the tower, as you pass people, most of whom just give kind of curt nods or welcomes, which is strange in this space. This is a Cathar's tower. Vistani here feels very out of place. And Amrita, there is a lingering smell of silver in the air.
She tries to remain calm and everything, but Cillian sees her dart her eyes in a few different directions, but before she focuses them straight ahead.
Cillian wouldn't be aware of the silver smell, right?
No.
Right? What, afraid of heights?
No, it's not that. I think there's quite a bit of silver here, is all.
Oh, right.
I have gloves on, though, it's fine.
Okay.
It's strange because when you enter one floor of this tower, it feels like you're walking downhill, but then others you have to like push. Everything feels uneven and your equilibrium is off as you're making your way to the top of this tower, where it's open and windows line all of the edges, kind of the way you might imagine the top of a lighthouse, although there's no lighthouse, there's no light up here. It's more just an area, fire pit that has been set up, one of those like braziers. It's just burning with coals kind of lightly after the night. But a handful of Cathars and the captain, Casper Lowe, is on this top level, leaned against one of the window frames.
Morning, Mr. Lowe.
Turns from his post, looking out this crooked window. Cillian, and it was Amrita. Have we been formally introduced?
I don't believe we have. Pleasure is all mine. She holds out one of her gloved hands.
Oh, I very much doubt that.
Oh, you're one charming fucker. Anyway, we won't take much of your time. I'm sure it's important. By the way, how's the tower doing? It seems like I'm about to die.
It is still standing by some miracle of the angels.
Quite a miracle. You had to climb on one floor. It's really bad.
Apologies, we don't get many visitors, so it's not really equipped for foot traffic.
It's more than okay. We're sort of here to ask you a favor, and I know you've been doing us lots of favors, and anyway.
Please, I am here to serve.
We won't be here forever, and the road here was, well, not good, as all the roads are. And I think we want to be a little more prepared of what's going to come. The priestess, Wernford, sent us in this direction, said there might be some books or anything on the topic of, I don't know, nearby creatures, that we might be a little more prepared when we try to go to the next village and try to do some good.
We do have a small, but I think sufficient library. And nearby, of course, your biggest problem kind of nods out the window to the mountain range to the north. Of course, the Markovs are, well, ever present. However, I can show you any research you would like to do. I would ask that you not take anything, but
of course,
you're welcome to read as much as you like. I'm glad to share. Not many people take advantage of things, even those who can read.
I am quite an avid reader in that department and things of that nature, so I would especially appreciate it.
Much of course,
I thought it kind of boring, but I'm along for the ride.
That is many who think this way. I cannot hold it against you. Please follow me. And he'll kind of snap to one of the other guards to take up a post. He'll grab his silver spear next to him and lead you down a couple levels to one of the doors you had seen that was blocked off. Because I do have to warn you, the floors are not the most secure in here anymore. You'll have to watch your step, but I think we have blocked off any areas that are the most damaged.
Right, we'll be careful.
Yes, keep a lookout.
Takes the keys from his rings and off his belt and unlocks the door, swinging it open. The tilt of the room, gravity just takes it, and it just swings rather quickly open as you see kind of these musty shelves, several scrolls, old tomes, newer books. He'll say, I do apologize for the state of it. It's rather dusty. As I say, it does not see as much use as it should.
Well, either way, we shouldn't be too long. Just
take your time. It's no trouble.
Is there any trouble on the horizon? Something bad happening?
Well, the horizon always looms, but I don't suspect there will be anything out of the ordinary.
And if there
if there is
persistence.
Exactly.
I will take that on for advisement. As he kind of like considers the massive garrison of Cathars beneath him. I mean, it's several dozen. It's not like a legion or anything, but yeah.
Okay.
I leave you to it.
Thank you. We won't keep you from your work for longer.
If you do need anything, don't hesitate to ask.
People are nicer. People are nicer.
I think when you know how little time you have, most people have decided to use it to the best of their abilities.
You have no idea how much that connects to me.
Thanks to all of us. This is Innistrad. Please.
That is true.
And he'll gesture for you to enter. As you can see, there are definitely areas that have been kind of blocked off, floorboards that have mildewed and rotten out, and you can see the beams supporting them underneath because the planks have split under. But yeah, the shelves are fairly well stocked, if musty. There's that intense smell of like mildew in the air.
Yeah, Amrita will step in first and kind of just be very cautious.
I'm gonna have both of you roll D10, please.
That
scared.
An extreme is always scary.
Cool. So, Amrita, as you're scouring through the shelves, looking for things on subterranean creatures, well, you know that they're most oftenly referred to as either carrion crawlers or graph worms. That sort of unintelligent beast. You do come across a rather newer printing of a book. It's still dusty, pages kind of wrinkled because they've gotten a little bit damp. It's not on the topic you're searching for, but you find a book called Combating Scabbering and the Maddening Sciences.
Curious, she grabs it and starts to read through it.
You can thumb through that. While Cillian, the one that pops out at you seems to be more of a historical tome called Pre-Avacinian Feudal States.
All right, I'll grab it. Leaf through.
It's like reading any book for you. You get very bored very quickly, but you do find a couple of old maps that show like the known lands of Innistrad. It's a little smaller than current maps, but it's all divided up along lines that you don't quite understand. And it's all about like the kind of the medieval state of existence before Avacyn came into being and the vampires that ruled certain areas and how it was very, kind of the caste systems that they had in place. While Amrita, the first thing that kind of pops out at you is a name, Geralt Vistani. And it connects to the book that you have in your bag that you had found dealing with alchemy. However, this book indicates that individual is a recently exposed but rather notorious stitcher. And the book itself deals with the scientific creation of undead monstrosities and the means of creating a facsimile of life, and how the church, at least, believes there is a trend in modern science driving people mad, and how research into things that are not the purview of what humans should dabble tends to have an effect on the mind.
Cillian, hold this book for a second. I need to compare it with another that I have in my bag. Before we came here, that is, and found on the road.
I grab it for her and start pretending like I'm going mad.
Flips it in the head. But yeah, she flips through her alchemy book. Does it look like it has anything similar mentioned, like what is in that book?
Well, the book you have is Alchemy, or
okay.
The Science of Magic, is the title, written by Geralt Vistani. And you had flipped through this and read passages of it on the road, which you noticed, while it's not explicit, there are passages that you thought took kind of a dark turn, and it's not outside the realm of possibility that this figure could have been a stitcher, just based on the things you had read in his own work. Though he doesn't admit to anything like that in his own tome.
She puts her book away, and then the journal she had taken off the late doctor a while back, she would have torn out a bunch of old pages of that and burned it, but she starts to take notes in it and everything. This is not exactly what I was expecting to find, at least for what we're currently dealing with, but this is very disturbing. Talking about a stitcher and everything, and she tries to explain it well enough to Cillian as she can. It's like, I wonder if what Lorelei said she saw, she's making sure she says all this in a low whisper too, even though they're by themselves, but she's kind of being cautious. I wonder if some kind of stitcher could have been involved. That would explain the cowhead or something. I'm not sure, because that's beyond anything, but this information just kind of, it's very suggestive and rather undead related.
Do I know what a stitcher is?
Yeah, you would have heard the term. It's basically somebody who makes Frankenstein monsters.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, Scabarin or Stitchers are the primary customer for body snatchers and people who steal body parts to be sold, that sort of thing. Grave robbers, because some of them experiment on animals, others prefer human parts for whatever reason. Maybe they're just mad, but it's a commonly known fact that some stitchers unleash their creatures, their abominations into the world. So the idea of them isn't uncommon to encounter, though most people have never seen a scab. It's like everybody knows what vampires are, even if you don't know you've ever encountered one.
Sure. So what were you on about? Sorry.
I'm just spouting nonsense. I'm just gonna write. I've written down what notes I think will be helpful from these two things, but I don't seem to have found anything in this area for what is needed for those other things. And she tries to look.
And these are the first books that have kind of popped out at you. You can keep scouring.
Yeah, and that's what she starts to do and everything, and puts that book back.
With my book, Jake, how far back does the Vistani history go? That far back?
I don't think the Vistani are actually referenced in this at all, because if there is, there's a passage to how this is, prior to their existence, because or would have heard the tales that the progenitor of your lifestyle and culture came from Thraben, and that was after the church had established itself several hundred years ago. So this is all pre-Vistani history as well.
Okay. Then I would probably put it away pretty quickly.
Sure. Amrita, eventually you do come across a book that's got several diagrams and references to various less conspicuous creatures, ones that people don't run into all that often, and this is what you find.
Ew. I don't like
Oh,
that.
He's adorable.
No, he's not. He's disgusting.
Ew, he's chubby.
No. Okay. Yes, this is it. And she quickly shows the page to Cillian and then goes to try to make sure she traces the same art as best she can, but also just kind of write down the notes.
Good find.
Does it specify anything about the mucus or anything pertaining to the
don't touch it
ability?
Is the primary thing. The mucus is on the feelers that it uses to kind of navigate subterranean areas, as well as kind of feel out fresh carrion, or when they do invade grafts, it's usually bodies that have been buried fairly recently. They don't feast much on old, like super decayed corpses. They have to be fairly fresh, and when they run out of that, they will hunt live things. They're not particularly great at fighting. They're not a huge threat, and they're not super fast. Most people could run away from them, but they are very large, very hardy, and when they do get their feelers on people, they usually lock up. Their nervous system shuts down, and they just become a feast, most often eaten alive.
Well, depending on how long ago the woman known as Heather died, I mean, they wouldn't go for her, depending on how old the body was. So I guess the body has to be pretty fresh for them to consume it. That doesn't really make it much
Also an
better,
option.
but yeah.
So stay away from them. That's the consensus.
Yes, and the only way to really probably weaken them could be trying to cut off their fillers and everything. It's not that hard to get away, but we're gonna have to be cautious if one appears again. It depends on, well, the fresh... Actually, the only corpse that would be the most fresh or recent would be that woman we brought in, would only be my concern. We should probably go back and look into that, but we have the information we need for now, I think.
Yeah, I think we can just take these fuckers. I mean, they're probably easier than witches.
For the most part, yes.
You would read that they don't typically emerge from underground except for occasionally at night. They don't particularly like the sunlight. It's too hot. But they can be drawn by the smell of decay. It doesn't have to be human. They're scavengers, so they'll eat anything that's beginning to rot, as it is an easy meal. So that would be a way to lure them if you wanted to do that. And obviously the mucus is a poison of sorts. So if you had a way to counteract poisons, you would have to speak to somebody knowledgeable about that if you wanted to.
I might have something.
Yes. Let us go find him, because especially you might be able to be more persuasive in speaking to him than I, given what he saw.
Hmm? I think it'll help. Can I, in the time that Amrita was looking for this book, something about the conversation they had yesterday and like Amrita seeing through his lies, and he kind of wants to start looking into Geist magic again. See if he can find anything here on that.
Roll percentile for that. So as far as Geist magic, what specifically is he looking for? Like Geist calling?
Ways to break curses.
So curse related. I don't know that you're going to find a lot on that, but you do find, where is it? You find a book titled The Condition We Call Death. And death is in quotation marks by an author. Title in the book only as Reinhold. And the book itself, as you kind of scour through it, is kind of a research treatise on just what makes it, like if a human being can be walking around and talking and doing stuff 1 minute, and then 2 minutes later they can be a shambling zombie that's moving around and functioning, what was the difference? What separated, what makes one dead and what not? If a soul can be inhabiting a body 1 minute and then loosed on the world the next, what caused that disconnect? And the entire book is just it's fairly lengthy. It would take a long time to read, and it's very dense in its academia.
Okay. So while he's interested, he kind of gets like 6 sentences in and realized how it's written, and like and kind of flip through, see if there's any pictures.
There would be some diagrams, of corpses and wounds, and discussion on diseases and how that can, just basically like, why do certain infections just cause the body to cease functioning to the point that it just is no longer alive, and then the soul is not within it anymore. Like, it's more questions than answers.
Okay. Yeah, and then he just flips through, see if anything specifically relates to him, because that's how he views the world. And then eventually Amrita finds that.
Yeah, I don't think there's much in the way of like communicating with Geists in this work. Make a history check real quick, though. Sadly, you are not familiar with any of Reinhold's other work, so.
Sure, makes sense. Although Stein would love to be.
Like,
I have an extensive chart of books that you guys can find, like Skyrim style.
Like it.
Oh,
It's
fuck
awesome. It's awesome. I wish I was playing a wizard character.
It's just like what Salty would do to me in Edaroth.
That's why
I
I
want to
did
read
this in
everything.
advance. That's why I made
Everything.
these in advance.
Yes.
brain.
I don't have to make up books on the spot.
It's really cool. It's really cool, especially titles and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, but after she finds the book and finished taking the notes, it's like, honestly, I know you said that you're not into reading, but you were flipping through pages rather rapidly just a few minutes ago.
Well, it is boring, though I do like to know stuff, because for stories and talking, you do need to know stuff. And, most of my information came from what other people told me, and you people can be kind of boring when it comes to that. So I have to find it in here.
I just, you know what? While we still barely know each other or the others, I won't even bother mentioning whatever you talked about, because again, I have my own stuff I don't even want to talk about either, Cillian. It's not my business, not your business. We focus on the now and what's happening.
The way you're looking at it. It's fine. I wanted to mention I'm dying anyway. It just always seemed like not the right time. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna die in a year.
Well, hopefully you don't. I would imagine that if you only did, you would either be maybe drunk on your ass or get beat to a pulp by maybe seducing somebody. Who knows? Probably a Cathar by accident or a higher ranking officer.
That could be very possible, though a shitty way to go. Although eaten by like a fucking one of these things, point to the disgusting insect on the page, wouldn't be much better, especially if you couldn't move. That actually sounds terrifying.
Yes. All right. Let's figure
Anyway,
out what the battle is.
Yeah, it might run out of orc corpses to eat and start attacking our friends. So let's go.
Very likely.
We'll leave. I'll say thank you to Casper as we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Amrita will probably be like, oh, by the way, Mr. Lowe, I think Myra wanted all of us to interact with her tonight, whether or not everyone will be there. But I figured someone should let you know, since you have been very, very kind in taking her up in your residence. That is.
Thank you for letting me know. I'm not sure that's a good idea. I will speak to her.
Just wouldn't want to impose or intrude, I suppose.
It's not an intrusion, but I have my reasons. I don't want to go into it.
Yeah, if you don't want to, right? We'll be off then. Thank you for the use of your library. It's more extensive than I thought.
As I said, I think it's as complete as we can manage in these parts. So far from Raven itself, you would be amazed what they have in the cathedrals.
Right. Bid you good day.
And you as well.
Sweet descending. Well, that was fucking weird. Why wouldn't he want to? He seems like the kind of guy who'd be into that sort of stuff. Doesn't he like Myra or something?
Who knows? One step at a time, Cillian. I mean, again, it is technically his house on one hand, and then there's other stuff going on at the same time that makes him rather seem suspicious. There's no telling.
Yeah, no.
And we also don't really have enough evidence rather than the word of Redford, or however her last name was. I've never good at remembering certain names because I'm not used to being in places this long.
I just hope Mara's okay there.
As you ponder this reaction on your way back to the city, Asuriel, you can finish up assisting the priestess with preparing the body as she calls on several diggers to go outside the city walls and make your way out to the graph where Lorelei and Acrio, I assume, would be reburying the coffin? Or are you going to keep it out?
Oh, I'm just an idiot. I was muted. Yeah, we're putting it back. Unless there was something in there, did it look like anything else? Super secret, top secret?
Roll percentile. While at the same time, Valerie, you can start to see Asuriel coming out of the chapel as you're making your way that way.
Human determination. I can't do it on this. I'm joking. It's a 44.
Yeah, he would probably kind of just draw closer, pulling out the piece of paper as he's walking, kind of realizing there is nothing for him to like place it on so that he can write anything down. Just kind of looks around, then kind of just puts it away, kind of just waving at her, kind of get her attention.
Sure doesn't notice at first, kind of like looking around, mostly looking towards where Lorelei and Acrio would be before finally seeing him. He's like, oh, hi.
Kind of, is there anything where he could like place a piece of paper so they can like, or like a
once you approach the edge of the graph, there's a wooden fence, so you put it up against either the fence post or something like that. One of the planks. It's difficult to hold that way, but you're having to adapt to that anyway. Meanwhile, before Lorelei and Acrio rebury this coffin, it's interesting because you had to kind of drain some of the water out of it, but eventually you do find there is a small leather-banded, what looks like was probably a collar for either a small dog or a cat. Very rusty at this point.
Okay. I'm already done disrespecting graves enough. Take note of it in my brain, point it out to Lorelei if we don't both see it, and then close it up and put it back.
Yeah, just close it up, put it away.
What is both Asuriel and Valerie's thoughts upon seeing a grave being exhumed and actually being reburied now? Two incredibly muddy individuals.
We're gonna need a bath.
That doesn't, you know, the whole church shebang, that's their kind of thing. It's not something he really like. He knows the merit of it, you know, like wards and shit like that. But apart from that, the whole religion thing is not really something for him. So he would probably just kind of wonder, but figure they have a reason for that, unless they're like weird people who like to dig up corpses. But you know,
most people who like to do that in the middle of the night. It's very weird that this is mid-morning.
The shittiest blue collars ever.
Yeah, we're so
almost
bad at our job.
Yeah. It's because it's the morning that nobody would be suspicious. It's
exactly.
like
it's reverse psychology.
Two Cathars digging up a corpse. Of course they have a reason. They wouldn't be doing it at 3 a.m. if they didn't have a reason.
Oh my god.
Big brains.
Yeah.
Is that Asuriel's line of thought as well?
I was just mostly wondering if they've found anything and where they can get a bath, because that's a lot of mud.
I'm just gonna squeegee the mud off my cloak and dress.
Yeah, Acrio kind of looks at her and it's like, you know, you can take the dress off and wear something else.
Well, I like it.
Yeah, of course, the dress looks great, but can wear something else. Like, I don't wear the same things under my armor every day.
I don't have anything else to wear, Acrio. This is the only item of clothing that I own.
We have to
Do you have
more clothing.
Why is that such a problem?
Well, it is turning summer and it's going to be hot as hell.
Dresses, if anything, are more breathable than trousers.
Oh yeah, I guess the airflow kind of
Yes.
pillows. Yeah.
Since when did you start taking an interest in what I was wearing?
I don't know, since you were fucking ankle deep in mud. Just recommending you wear a pair of pants instead of jumping down there looking like Mary Poppins. I don't know who that is, but
That's a Gavany children's story. How do you know that?
well, I did spend some time there.
Maybe pay more attention to the situation at hand rather than what I'm wearing.
There is no body in there. We don't know where it is, but it isn't in there.
So, what does that mean then?
That means a couple of things. It could mean a couple of things, I should say. It means either she's already been dug up for some purpose, or she was never dead in the first place. And this has been some kind of cover-up.
To cover up what, though?
That's the question.
Should we maybe not talk in the graph? 'Cause with all the worm things?
I'm sure if it wanted to eat us, it would have done so plenty long ago.
It would have done so when half the bloody hole collapsed on me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just
Alright.
gestures at the mud everywhere.
Where are you gonna get clean?
I'll find a pond. I'll find a
Asuriel.
I'll find a pond or something.
I don't.
I'll just I go to pat her on the head and then I realize my hand is really muddy. So I'll just like
Handprint.
I'll look at her and just be like, you see what you know what I mean.
Touch her head, look at the mud.
Oh hey Val, welcome.
Yeah, well, Val is just like
Nope.
witnessing this entire conversation, kind of looking at you. It's like, y'all are crazy. What the fuck?
Under the shade of a hawthorn tree growing on the edge of the graph.
He looks a bit concerned. Like, yeah. You know, the thing about like the daughter, obviously, but there seems to be something else that's kind of like on his mind and that he's like thinking about. So he's kind of sort of distracted, kind of trying to pay attention, but there is something.
I'll see Val being Val.
Yes.
Walk over and just. I can't snap my fingers. It's too humid right now. The skin just sticks. What's the matter? Why? What? You look not okay.
Kind of just flinches, probably because like Acrio snaps to get his attention. Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then that kind of just makes him flinch as he's just kind of looking at you for a moment. And pulling out the sheet of paper. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he will.
Is this about the
outright-
emotional journey he's going through visibly right now?
Pretty much. He's writing down the doctor, like a pause as he kind of hesitates. Wasn't in his room last night.
All right. I'll bite. What does this mean? I have an intelligence of 11.
Yeah, Val is kind of realizing,
Well,
you know, anybody else is like not getting what that means. Kind of.
so he pulled an all-nighter.
He said he was working late. Makes sense, but I'm not quite sure. Seemed odd.
Why is that?
kind of coincidence? Question mark. As he kind of looks at Acrio to kind of indicate that he doesn't want to suspect the doctor, but with all the shit that is going on, can't rule it out, or he can't rule it out, and that kind of messes with him.
What did you say he did as a profession? I know he's a doctor.
Would he be a surgeon, or what's his like?
He's an all-around doctor. I mean,
okay.
Since you've come, it's mostly anything that needs to be done. I believe it was Casper Lowe who had told Acrio and a few of the others when he first came to Silbern, he was the dentist and has kind of branched out from there.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's
My character hasn't
so
met him
fucky. A dentist. That guy's a fucking skinwalker. There's no dentist in the Innistrad that isn't a skinwalker.
It's like Christoph Waltz intensifies.
All right,
But-
that's all the evidence we need.
And then
Let's go
there's
kill
also
him.
the fact that he's wearing like a full, like never seen anyone wear the getup that he does. Nobody in this party. I mean, you like, I think Cillian maybe has heard of somebody wearing something similar to that, like the beaked mask, the fact that he's covered head to toe, especially. Well, I guess you wouldn't know that now that it's kind of warming up. He still is, but
I mean, again, my character hasn't met or even heard them talk to the doctor.
He seemed
So
snippy. It didn't seem a
See-
place to be like, what's the fucking outfit, bro?
See, the other problem is I could see Asuriel with a character in a full crow outfit 24/7.
no, you're just seeing salty.
Yeah, that's
not
just salty.
Asuriel, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Asuriel. not
If
Sultan.
only.
Okay, suspicious doctor, dentist. Do we go talk to this doctor first, or we go talk to the rancher? Because you gotta talk to them both now, I guess.
Well, I don't exactly want to be shallow, but should I really be showing up to have conversations with anyone muddy from the waist down?
We can-
Should we take care of the worms first?
In all due time, we'll get everything done. But yes, we can go to the tavern and clean up. Not that it matters. We're on business, not here for leisure.
Yeah, but if it's business, I want them to take us seriously. And me showing up looking like I've just waded through shit is not exactly going to be a coin in our favor.
Then you can clean up Lorelei.
Val just kind of.
You can just go without me, that is an option on the table.
Val
Don't let me
just
ho-
kind
don't
of hands Lorelei like a handkerchief, like he knows it does not do much, but it's like, yeah.
She holds her hand up like, I don't want to get that filthy. Thank you, but
Just like, wow, thanks. Cleans it, hands it back, pure brown.
like that's very sweet. That's very sweet of you, but
Yeah, okay. We'll go to the tavern, clean up.
maybe
And
see if we
then-
can find Cillian and Amrita. Brief them on what we found, because
Is the tower on the way to the ranchers?
no.
no, it's the other way.
Ranch is inside, is that right?
No, the ranch is
Oh,
also
okay.
outside the city, but it's more to the southeast,
Oh, okay.
like literally the opposite side of the town
Yeah.
is the tower, which is the northwest.
What time is it now?
I mean, it would be still mid-morning.
Oh, okay. We got time. Okay, yeah, let's just go pick up Amrita and Cillian and then clean up, go to the ranchers, because
I need someone to roll a d6 plus 4.
uh-oh.
I will do it.
Shh.
Yeah,
Go
you
on,
haven't rolled
Salty.
anything yet, so
Yeah, give us.
Cheese
Give us some-
addiction. Uh-oh.
Extremity is worrying.
Mhm. Oh no, Jake's face!
Fucking Jake's expression.
Shade.
So, more people are out on the streets now than have been since coming to Silbern. The storms keeping everyone inside, trying to keep as dry as they could. as the day gets even warmer and the top layer of everything starts to dry, the puddles in the street seem even deeper, broken cobblestone and just areas of disrepair and mud that you kind of have to walk around. But there are more people out. You see people with looms that they've set out in front of their houses, kind of like setting up to weave for the day, rugs and that sort of stuff. Number of people parading cattle and horses through the city streets. It's a much more bustling than it has been. And the other thing you notice is, of course, the men making the rounds and collecting glass bottles and setting out a pair of new white liquid filled bottles at each residence. Approach the Brass Bell Saloon. There's a bit of a commotion, people who are gathered around kind of all shouting, and you can all see very quickly there's a person who has climbed up the facade of the building. Lorelei quickly, as well as Val, would recognize the son of Cooper Hillcrest, Big Tuck, his lanky figure hanging off of the sign as people were like trying to coax him down and pull on his leg or catch him if he falls. But you see as he's like reaching out and trying to get the leather banded bell that hangs on the wooden steer symbol for the actual saloon, the one that has the actual brass bell. And as he kind of gets a hold of it, his leg slips and he falls, but it like rips this whole sign down with him, and everybody tries to catch him, but as he stumbles up, he's just got this goofy grin on his face as he like jingles the bell and then like puts it on and like swings his body so that it rings.
No apparent broken bones, anything, no bones sticking out. Okay.
He's fairly hardy, and several of the
Okay.
ranch hands were able not to catch him exactly, but break the fall somewhat.
Okay.
and get him up. You see guys dusting him off. It's like, that was stupid, shouldn't be doing that sort of thing. And anyone who tries to take the bell from him swats them away. A couple of people try to like take the sign and they're like can't remount it, so they just set it out in front of the saloon for somebody else to deal with in the future.
Would we all be back in town by this point at different locations when it happens, or how big is this town? Now that
It's several thousand people probably.
How many people are actually there, like showing active concern? And are they all ranchers? And do they look sluggish, slow, or otherwise?
There's a
Like-
dozen or so. At least half of them are ranch hands. There's a couple cattle that they had been herding or whatever, had on tethers that they're moving through the city, who are kind of the ones that take the most active interest. But there are a few women, wives, or just people who are out and about for daily shopping, who are more gawking than they are helping.
Got it.
Rubbernecking.
Okay.
Is
As
Cyril
soon
gonna
as-
look around for Mr. Boss Man?
Cooper is not present amongst them.
That's
I was-
weird. Why is he out here all alone?
I mean, aren't there farmhands? Like he's not by himself.
Well, yes, but
Okay, just to double check.
just,
People can travel without their family, Asuriel.
Yeah, I think he has kind of free reign around. I mean, we've seen him on his own before, haven't we? When we first came here.
Well, he had a couple of the ranch hands with him then too.
Well, yeah, but without Cooper. I mean,
Yes.
even though he did quickly show up, but still.
Like those, the guy running around, Tucker. Is that something he does fairly often, or is it like sometimes he does it, but mostly he's like at the farm?
Make a
So-
history check, Val, because you've been here a while, but it's not really
Okay.
your main focus in town, so it's a possibility that you know.
Okay.
Probably at the time while they're all actually at the
Mm.
commotion. I'd imagine as soon as Cillian and Amrita enter one of the main entryway, she probably hears it. And it's like, there's some weird noise going up on ahead. I wonder what's going on.
Yeah, Cillian, you don't quite really hear anything beyond ambient noise, but you know Amrita hears things beyond what typical humans do. I will say though, Val, you've seen Big Tuck kind of wander the streets by himself.
Mhm.
You'd probably know that generally there's always somebody who works for Cooper who kind of keeps an eye on him, but he's not tethered to the ranch, or he kind of has free reign of the place, honestly.
Okay.
And everybody seems to know who he is, so.
Okay. Yeah, just wanted to make sure. Okay. And the dude is just swinging around the bell.
Yeah, he seems fine, and yeah, he just
Okay.
seems really enthused about this bell.
Okay. Does it? Okay, I don't know if like that is something that could even be perceived. Does it just seem, a person with like diminished mental capabilities that is just like happy about like an object or anything, or does there seem to be like more to why he's kind of dealing or like seeking out this object in particular?
I don't know that you would be able to tell that. I think it is just kind of a thing where it seems the interests of somebody like that is a little bit up to interpretation.
Just randomly though, does it have any kind of, I know I didn't get a great look of it when Acrio pointed it out to me, but the leather band that we saw in Heather's coffin that she wasn't in, does that have any kind of like similar clasp looking thing to this thing that he's holding on to? Any kind of similarity? Apart, obviously I don't think it had a bell on it, but
yeah, no, I mean it's a leather band.
Yeah,
they are kind of similar.
Yeah, just wondering if there was anything particularly like striking about it.
Not that would jump out at you, but I think after a moment when Big Tuck's good eye kind of like lands on you because he spoke to you the other night, Lorelei, he will kind of like push through the crowd and come up and like the bell he's ringing, he'll like ring it really loud in your face, just giggling. Because you were there at dinner the other night, so you're his friend now.
Yep. She'll just like, she doesn't pat him because like she's still kind of muddy, but she's like, yeah, you got it. Good one. Just kind of goes along with it.
And Amrita, you can hear that bell a good ways off.
Lorelei now has tinnitus.
Yeah. Amrita gets the look of the weird expression on her face, Cillian, as they're trying to walk through the boots in different directions. What the hell? Is someone trying to perform some kind of weird choir with a bell?
There's a bell? Could it be alarm bells?
It doesn't sound like it, but it just keeps...
It's fairly frantic, though.
Let's just hurry up and go see what's up. I guess we'll have to find Val later and wherever he lives.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, you are able to make your way through town and meet up with the other group, not far from the tavern.
All right. That makes... Well, I didn't expect it, that's to be sure.
Neither did I. It's quite strange.
Morning, everyone.
What?
Morning, Backman.
Like hand over one ear.
I like the sound of that bell.
It's really loud.
So what have you guys found out?
Stuff?
Amrita waits and looks at because is that guy still kind of close with the bell?
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's meandering through the streets, enjoying himself.
Why don't we get off the streets and make sure there's more listening ears? Eh?
Agreed. This is not a conversation we want to be having openly.
Plus, me and Lorelei need to
He
spin
just-
off anyway, so the tavern is right there.
Sure, let's get that private room. Feels nice. Big Tuck when he's walking around, he just seems happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no reading of warning or something in his eyes.
Not really. I mean, only one of his eyes faces any one direction at
Sure.
a time, but yeah.
Is there anybody else out and about that looks like they're particularly paying attention to him or not anymore?
Make an insight check.
Okay.
Amrita, it's an odd feeling when you look over the faces of everyone out on the streets, women doing their work, men on horseback, riding through town. You see someone who's like got candle making set up where there's like heated wax and they're like dipping the wicks in it and kind of like setting them out on a string. But everybody seems to kind of glance over at Big Tuck as he makes his way through the city, and there's a sense that everyone seems to keep an eye on him. Different than you felt in Lamholt, where it was like every eye was suspicious of you. When you were a child, every eye kind of looking your way was judging you. You get more the impression that everybody's looking out for him.
Follows the others inside the tavern after lingering for a moment.
Oh, I forgot the atmosphere in here. It's great.
Every atmosphere for you is great, no matter where we go.
Well, that is true. I'm pretty adaptable.
Anyway, important business. The grave that the whatever thing is eating the bodies was, it avoided the graves because there's nothing in the grave.
Coffin's completely empty. Well, we found like a leather band in it, but nobody.
Yeah.
Amrita will take out her journal and show what she sketched and everything and basically go over the details of the book. They also do not really go for anything that is too decayed. Specifically, it has to be, as I said, and was correct earlier, on a fresh corpse. And they are just creatures with no really thought processes of their own. They're just like any other living being in the wild, but just more dangerous. But really, it's easy to escape them for the most part. And
The door suddenly swings open, and Samantha leans in. She's got a tray and like a towel tucked into her apron. Can I get y'all anything? Beers? You good in here?
We need a bath.
Yeah. Do you guys have baths here?
We've got a washroom. I can get that set up for you.
Yeah.
By yourselves, or you need someone to help?
What?
Each person alone.
Well, the girls have.
We're good.
more
We're
than one.
good. We're good.
Wait.
Yes.
No, thank
Alone.
Just be open to it.
No,
New
thank you.
experiences.
I am Cathar of the goddamn church.
And I'm
Cillian.
not. Maybe I'm curious. I'm not.
So yay, nay.
Thanks, love. We're fine for now.
I'll say no for now.
Yeah.
How do you help someone take a bath?
If
That
it's
is
what
beyond
if it's
the
what I
point.
think it is, I don't think it's help.
Focus on the matter at hand.
Sorry.
You
Yes.
guys ever played Red Dead Redemption 2?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was.
Oh God. Now focus.
Just clean
But
your
if you
shaft.
cut off the Palofta sounded like she was dying. Okay, shit. What was I gonna say? Thanks, Fluff.
Something about cut off.
Yes. If they cut off the fillers, it could help with some of that. But again, considering that it depends on how many fresh corpses they ate, they will be full and wild. But so there you have it. The body was never there to begin with. And even then, if it was too far decayed, depending on when it died, the two are unrelated. There's really no proof. But there is something else that I have discovered, though it's speculation. When you had said, Lorelei, that you had seen a figure with a cow head, the rest of the body appeared human, did it not?
Yeah.
Amrita flips through the pages in the journal again, finding the notes and turning it over. In the alchemy book that I have discovered, I noticed that a name was very similar to a book that we had read in the tower. And that very same author of sorts happened to be a stitcher. And I was very curious, considering not all stitchers, I believe, use just human parts. Unless it could have been a man just having a cow mask over his head, but I'm not entirely sure. Again, this is just a guess, given what I found and discovered in the tower on a book. But who knows? And neither of us have really seen what you saw, so it is just a thought process of mine I came to.
Anyway, to draw out the beast, by the way, we'd need something dead. So we'll need to find it, or something decaying at least.
Something
I can make
fresh.
something. I can make something decay.
It needs to be something
great.
fresh, though, and not close to that decay.
Fresh dead, not decayed dead.
Yes. Otherwise, it
Yeah,
would
but
not work.
it's the smell that draws them, so it does have to be in
Yeah.
the process of decaying.
Yes, she'll specify that to that explicitly. It's hard to repeat all that
There's
stuff.
like a level of like active decay when like air and stuff builds up in it, and it really stinks. Like if it's freshly
Yes,
dead,
but-
it's not really gonna smell.
Yes, but that is where we're at currently, and if the
Oh,
rest of
and it's
you-
poisonous too. Is Val here? Val's here, right?
Yeah, I think he would.
By the way, Val.
Raises his hand. It's one hand.
Actually, a matter
do you
of
have some
hand.
antitoxins or something?
Would you know if the doctor has anything? Probably, right?
You would suspect if anyone in town did, it would be Dr. Mueller.
Yeah, then he kind of writes on the paper, I could try making some or get some from the doctor.
Actually, now that we're all here, I was just going to do this with Cillian and I to come speak to you, Val, but you're the only one who's been here the longest. And forgive me for being blunt about it, but that scarring on your neck, after briefly seeing it from a distance, I know that is not from anything normal, to say the least. Did a creature with a cow head do that to you? You're not lying, are you?
Come on, Amrita. Would he really have any reason to lie this far into it?
We don't know that, and plus, given what he's seen, he probably doesn't have any reason to still trust us, but there's no other choice in the matter now. It's the only way to figure stuff out and leave and get out. I will trust that, Val, and then I will trust that. Hopefully, in assisting with alchemy regarding the dairy, we can solve that.
I will just write on paper, kind of for everyone to see, kind of look at everybody like, I can leave if you want me to. You're not welcome.
No. Amrita, I know
I'm
you
not
come
telling
from the
him to
wilderness.
leave,
No,
but it's just a
listen
matter
to
of-
me. Listen to me. I understand you're from the wilderness and you do things different out there, but here it's trust people and work together and hope that they aren't, not even hope, just trust that people should work together over being alone. Because if you're fearful people are going to betray you or you can't tell people things, then humans are going to turn against each other and we're all going to die. So we work together.
Most people do that.
Yeah. Most people
Val.
are good people.
I'm finally helping you guys and allowing a stranger into the mist of all of this. I'm just trying to help cover any of the base. You know what?
If
I need a
he is
breather.
trustworthy to me.
I need a breather. And she leaves.
Amrita.
Oh, isn't she lovely? Anyway, Val.
He just kind of moves out of the room, kind of after.
You don't have to go.
Amrita,
You don't have to go, Val.
and kind of tries to see where she's going. Kind of trying to follow her.
Mhm.
Like, not in a like malicious way, but kind of like just
As he
wanna
pulls his
talk.
knife.
Finally, my chance.
My scalpel.
Yeah, she probably
Okay.
looks like she's just gonna go back to the gate, maybe to the church or something.
Okay. And then she's like making insane headway, would kind of try to catch up to her, kind of tug on the sleeve as he usually does to get someone's attention when they're not paying him any mind. Kind of pointing at her. Kind of indicating that he did not say anything about her transformation.
Thanks. I need to go clear my head for a minute, though. This is all a lot.
Kind of pulling out the sheet of paper, screwing down. Do you want some company? Kind of adding, no talking.
Probably not now.
Literally cannot talk.
You can just stay with the others. It's all right. I need to go away. I'll just be at the church if anyone is curious or cares.
Kind of nods at that, kind of turning around and then moving back to the saloon.
Back in the room. You know, I really thought I was making headway. I even caught her looking at me when we were reading. She thought I wasn't looking. I'm just saying.
I believe she's warming up to you. That's from what I can tell from her. But Acrio, you've got to be a little softer handed with her, just a little bit. I get you had the best of intentions, but focusing too much on the we have to stick together, I think it overwhelms her a little bit. I think it's just a bit much. Okay? So we just need to be a little just gentler with her, okay?
I need as many people here as possible to get this
And she knows that. She doesn't need
then
to be told
why is
that.
she trying to get rid of Val at every moment we turn?
I didn't think she was, really. She might just be
I do think
worried
she's
that,
just like that.
he knows.
They
Look.
buried the werewolf outside the walls.
Thank you, Asuriel. Wait, what?
They said they don't bury werewolves in the graph.
How did they know?
I told them I didn't think it was important, not for burial.
You really can't leave a child alone.
Asuriel, I'm gonna just like pull my chair closer to Asuriel and just like take her hands, even though mine are filthy, but I imagine the mud's kind of dried off a bit now, so it might just be a bit of brush off. It's like, Asuriel, I understand that you had the best of intentions doing that, and we're not upset with you, but
I am.
as I've said 100 times before, don't listen to a word Cillian says. But just, you have to be careful with what you say. Okay? You have to be really
Okay.
careful with what you say. Because these things are really sensitive. And people can take things the wrong way. And sometimes the wrong people can hear.
I know I should never say things about people here, but I didn't think it was important for someone we're just about to bury.
Okay, like I said, you're not in trouble. I'm not upset with you, but just for the future, just be careful about how much you say to other people.
All right.
Okay.
Where did Amrita go?
Probably went to just get some air. She never goes too far.
Thinking of me.
Yes, Cillian.
No,
She's probably just so emotionally drained from being in Cillian's stunning presence that being around the rest of us plebs has completely drained her. And she's like, I
don't know how you read me so well.
It's you just open book, hard on your sleeve, completely.
Oh, welcome back. I wanted to ask you, how well do you know the doctor? Because I kind of think Amrita's on something when she's talking about, stitchers and stuff. And I don't want to offend you, but the first thing my mind goes to, if there's a stitcher around here, it's a doctor. Because, pretty close.
He's got a point.
Sir's gonna lean over to Lorelei a little bit. Aren't those stitchers just put close together?
Not that kind of that's a tailor.
God.
That's a tailor. We don't call those people stitches. Definitely don't call those people stitches.
Okay.
Though I have ran into a tailor that was a stitcher once. It's quite.
Yeah.
Old Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, they weren't very good at what they did, but
Obsessed with skincare.
It's like that moment when Cillian brings it up. It's like that notion Vala hasn't really entertained any sort of emotion, but now you kind of put that in his head, and so he's like, with the doctor behaving strangely anyway, like at least a bit weirdly, like yesterday what he's seen, he kind of pales a bit, kind of even more than he already is, kind of writing down almost frantically, the doctor is a nice person, he wouldn't do anything, he's a good man, we need to trust him, I want to trust him.
yeah, like
Kind of
Lorelai's
very
a
much
good
like
person.
rambling.
Okay, what did you just say?
I said, yeah, like Lorelai's a good person.
Pretend you just didn't say that.
Has he always been wearing that outfit? Because, it's stunning.
It's pretty fresh.
Stripped out. Val kind of writes, as long as I can remember, tried to look at him, he wouldn't let me. And there's this kind of visible kind of expression of sadness on his face at that.
Yeah, I don't understand wanting to hide yourself, so he's definitely hiding something.
I definitely think he's hiding something, not for that reason, but
Val kind of seems to get upset at that notion that he, like the doctor, is like hiding, so he needs to, or he has to hide something, so he kind of like points at like his half-hidden, scarred-up face.
All right, not because of the plague doctor outfit, though it doesn't paint a pretty narrative. Doctors and those of the sciences in Innistrad aren't respectfully seen well in the eyes of the church. It's a very iffy art that blurs the line between evil and good.
Kind of writing, but we don't do anything wrong. We're trying to help people.
I trust that, but right now we've got a really big problem. We need all the sources of possible leads we can get.
The world is really grey, Val. Bad people can do good things and the other way around.
And
I'm not saying he is, I'm just saying we should entertain the notion.
Val,
I'm glad he helped you, and I'm glad you're around. But
Val, do you have anywhere else to go? If this does turn out that he's got something else going on, do you have anywhere else to go?
Kind of visibly tears up at that. Just kind of very shakily. He's all I have.
So we're going to handle this delicately, like looks at Acrio and Cillian. So we're going to handle this delicately, but just throwing this out there, if anything does happen and it's not safe for you to stay with him, you are welcome to come with us. Okay?
I'm sure Amrita will warm up to you.
Yeah, don't pay any attention to her. She's like that. I've known her for the longest out of all of us, and she still acts like that with me. So you haven't done anything wrong. You haven't done anything to upset her.
If anything, it means she's taken a liking to you. Like Cillian over here.
Right.
I was trying like his hardest not to cry. It's like trying to keep it together right now.
Like, hey,
Well,
in case we
crybaby
kill
number
your
2.
family, you can come with us.
Lorelei wraps her hand in the piece of her cloak that isn't muddy and pats him on the shoulder with it. It's like it's okay. It's okay.
Go kill your family.
Anyway, no dead daughter. I think that's an important one to discuss a little bit further.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a whole daylight ahead of us, and we are wasting it sitting around. We could be talking to plenty of people right now.
Yes.
Lorelei, you already went to his, right?
Yes.
Did he say something about his family?
Not really, no. I kind of had the hot seat at dinner. Didn't really give him much of a chance to talk about himself, and when I did ask, he wouldn't tell much.
So
Why
what
would
do
you want-
Stitch or Stitch?
We'll
Well,
get to
Stitchers.
How much wood could a wood stitch if wood stitch could just wood?
How much would a stitch?
Stitches.
If
Stitches sew body parts together.
Try to create life. I think I've seen a few of their creations around. They're not fun to look at.
Horrifying.
Asuriel kind of gets this horrified look on her face, and then was the cow head stitched on?
Do I even remember?
I don't know that you got a good enough look
Yeah,
at it
like,
before you
I-
bolted.
I only just caught a passing glance at it. I mean, it could be. It seemed like it was on there pretty securely. I can't say that it wasn't. But yeah, it might have been.
That's bad.
What are the odds we could take one in the middle of the night?
That is an option.
All right, so we should talk to Cooper Hillcrest, see if we can find something out about his family situation, why there was a fake grave. I think
I don't know if we should bring up the fact that we dug up a.
Definitely
Grave.
not.
I
Definitely
agree,
not.
but I do want to walk around his house while he doesn't know I'm there.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we can talk his ear off about all sorts of random shit, and you can go investigating.
Yeah, Lorelei's
we can-
great at that.
Plus, he's already spoken to me. I feel like he would be disarmed by me.
'Cause
I'm
we
just,
do
you know, just
wanna-
not like this. Just gestures at the mud everywhere. It's not like this. I'm not gonna go talk to him like this. What'll he think?
I think it's more charming, actually.
No.
Yeah, it's
I'm-
got that working, functional touch.
I mean, maybe, but I don't want to like track mud through his house.
I'm sure he does that enough himself.
Acrio, as you're saying this and like glance down at yourself, you start to realize the edges of rust forming on your armor after it's been unblessed and out in the rain and mud so much. You're saying, yeah, working quality, and you're like, oh shit.
All right, go get yourself cleaned up by Samantha, and after that, we'll go to Cooper's.
I'm gonna go talk to Samantha about getting help with a bath.
Hey,
Val is kind of like writing and kind of holding out the piece of paper like, I can talk to the doctor.
He's not going to let you into whatever you might be hiding, though.
Val kind of looks at Acrio. The words sound meaner than they are intended. Like he's trying to state a matter of fact, but he's writing, I have a better shot than you guys. And that sounds like really harsh.
Sure, if you
Well,
feel comfortable to.
Good luck.
And it looks at Cillian, kind of, can you come with me?
I can. Can you guys... Oh, while they're getting cleaned up, we'll go talk to the doctor. How about that? Okay.
Lorelei takes 8-hour baths.
It's a full spa treatment.
But it would, I'm gonna say, considering it's the first time she would have been in that situation, it definitely last 8 hours.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I had to.
Oh, D&D.
Yeah.
Oh, my mind went to many places, but please continue the actual story.
We're the worst.
Samantha,
Oh god.
she'd be like, well, I mean, my time, that is, well, I'm retired, I suppose you could say, but I mean, as a favor.
I mean, I wasn't saying, specific. I wasn't specifying.
Bath's drawn.
Yep.
She'll like grab your hand.
Oh boy. Lorelei is like, normally she's like pale, but she is like full tomato.
And sweating more inside than she was outside.
Uh-huh.
Acrio and Asuriel, you hang around the tavern, or are you doing anything while the others head out?
Well, I also need to take a bath. Not as muddy, but I'm taking one alone. In my own shop room.
Sure.
And neglecting to do anything to my armor. Everything's fine.
I mean, kicking the mud off it at least.
Yeah, just like a quick brush.
Mm-hmm.
Get the caked off mud. The caked on mud.
I was also gonna take a bath because that felt nice. It felt good.
Mm-hmm. They only have 2 on either side of the end of this hall, so you'll have to wait for somebody, or else Acrio can work on his armor while you go and then, rotate.
Listen into.
Don't finish that sentence. Do not finish that sentence.
Outside the saloon, as Cillian and Val head toward the doctor's location, you see Emel, which Cillian you recognize. Val doesn't so much. She and Frank both standing in front of this little cart that's been set up with an umbrella. It's like a single push cart sort of thing with an umbrella attached to it, and this guy in like a small hat as he's got a cloth and wipes his forehead, a little bit sweaty, but then will gesture to the pair of you, Vistani, as you are making your way down the road, and Amel and Frank kind of step aside. The guy will be like, travelers, please step up.
Yeah, sure thing. Love your energy, man.
It's rather a hot day. I suspect you're in need of a treat to cool down.
To cool down? That sounds amazing. Val, do you have money?
I am a purveyor of such items. Local delicacy, you're not going to find this anywhere else.
Of course. Show me.
You will open up the cart, and there are these 2 tubs with something in them you've never really seen before, but you can feel the cold kind of like radiating out of this. He will say, we have the finest vanilla bean from Gavany, as well as cocoa from Kessig, imported.
Imported?
Yes, indeed. Local recipe, of course, and yeah, takes like this little wooden tab and kind of like dips it into the lighter, kind of pale one that he indicated was made with vanilla, and hands it out to you. Seems to hold its shape, like mashed potatoes almost.
Oh, I definitely trust the taste. I'll just buy one from you, and I'll put my hand on his shoulder, and I want to pickpocket him to see.
Okay.
Oh my fucking god!
I don't want to
No
take
shame.
any money or like valuable shit or anything. I just want to check if there's any paper on him or something like that that could give me some information about this guy.
Sure. Make a sleight of hand check, and he's like, "Oh, of course." You'll find.
You're gonna take that poor guy's passport.
Yeah,
You're gonna
exactly.
take his trade. You're gonna take his trade.
I don't trust anyone selling dairy on the street. Fuck them.
Yeah, Val kind of.
He's not gonna have a
scribbling.
piece of paper that says "I'm evil" on it.
No, I know, but maybe there's like something. I don't know.
Like a letter, like, "Hey."
Val kind of scribbles as like Cillian does that, kind of holding it up afterwards. That reads, "Did you use milk from Silbern?"
While he's like half reading what is being written on there and being felt up by Cillian, he's got this like spoon, and he pulls out these. It looks like cornmeal, but like printed into almost like a waffle type shape, but rolled into canonical. Takes a couple of those and just like scooping this on to each of these. He'll say, "Oh yes, of course, it's a local delicacy."
Val kind of just shakes his head then, kind of giving him a friendly smile.
It's 3 coppers for a scoop or a half gold for 2.
That sounds lovely, mate. I'm sorry, if Val doesn't want to buy it, I can't either, because I just spent all my money in a night with a leatherworker girl. So
How badly does Cillian look like he wants this ice cream?
I mean,
Or is it more like as an excuse to kind of
it
get
depends on
out?
if you can read him or not. He's like, he doesn't want this ice cream at all, but he's playing like he wants some.
I mean, let's do an insight check.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, then you just kind of let him do his thing.
So
Just kind
as you're kind of saying this, and he'll like take it back a little bit, just licks it himself, looks down where your hand is like moving around the back of his thigh. And you're like, "Look, Vistani, this is the only merchandise I sell."
Us and our Vistani tricks. I'm sorry, buddy. Can ever trust us, huh?
Sword and seam. Good day.
Good day. I hope you sell your ice cream, mate.
I'll just
We'll
feel
move on.
terrible now. Because it's like this makes him look so bad. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. But it also doesn't make him look suspicious or
Yeah,
anything.
he just moves forward.
The guy's eyes just track you both as you go until somebody else steps up with a pair of kids. Probably one of the kids from the witches' caves, the Gulst kids, and somebody buys them a scoop.
We need to stop whatever's going on here, Val. I don't want these kids growing up and it's hard to see the negatives, you know, because they're fed and happy. It just all feels so ominous.
Val kind of scribbling as he does so very often. Too much of the same thing can make you sick as well.
That's a smart way to look at it. I just hope they're okay. Oh, we haven't even talked about dinner at Nyrus. Oh, so many things going on.
He's like,
Val doesn't
"What?"
even know who that is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like-
Cillian doesn't give a fuck.
It's like, no, it's like, sure.
But you can pretty easily find the apothecary and doctor's office. What is Amrita doing as she has made her way off?
She's gonna look around the graph area again, just see if there's been any recent movements or change in the ground.
As the book had indicated, carrion crawlers are typically nocturnal. They kind of sleep during the day, burrowing fairly deep. So you find the lack of evidence that would support that.
Where was Casper Lowe's house again?
In town, you know where it is. You were just there this morning, so you can find it.
Okay. She's gonna, against her better judgment, walk there. And see if Myra answers the door.
Oh, hello again. It was Amrita.
Yes, this is kind of awkward. I'm sure you were probably expecting someone more lighthearted like Cillian or something.
I'm not sure what you mean.
It doesn't matter. Can I briefly come inside and just speak with you, or at least speak with you out here?
It is the Casper's house, but there's some chairs around the side.
Yeah, I won't be long.
I could use a break anyway. I was about to take the rugs out back, but wouldn't mind to sit down.
And then she said there were chairs on the side outside? Okay.
Kind of like a little patio seating area.
Do you know when Mr. Lowe has come and gone? We saw him earlier, but I was just curious of when he would be back, or if he would have any idea.
I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I'm sure he has a schedule that he's kind of in charge of everything, isn't he? But things have been, really nice. He seems to keep an eye on the town really well.
That's good. And there's a couple times where I think she'll turn her head a little bit and Dandy's barking in the distance. You know what? Come back to me. I go get the dog.
Then, Cillian and Valerie, doctor's office.
Yeah, probably like Val doesn't knock, he just kind of straight enters.
As many people do.
Yeah. Does he see the doctor, or does it seem like he's in his workshop again?
You would find him out in the main kind of lobby area, probably scribbling some paperwork on one of the counters. Looks over to the both of you, but doesn't say anything.
Okay. Val moves up to him, kind of very nonchalantly putting like a piece of paper down that just reads, "We need to talk."
The mask kind of tilts toward it, and then toward you. You can catch another whiff of that floral smell as he kind of sighs heavily through this mask. Alone or with the other?
Val looks at Cillian to see like his general reaction.
Oh, sure. Cillian jumps into talking, of course. Well, I've been hanging out with Val, and I'd love to know Val's friends. And he doesn't have that many, apparently, but there's you. And there must be something good about you, if Val likes you. So I'd love to be there. If not, I'm okay.
Is this a social call? I'm in the middle of the workday.
I mean, come on, you can take a little break. Don't have to work all the time.
Vala's like, oh.
Again, there's this breathing out through the filtered mask. Cillian, you catch again kind of this herbal and floral scent that comes from it. Intense flowers.
Oh, I love the way you smell. What do you use? I need to use it myself.
It's a concoction. Can give you several of the flowers if you need it. It's supposed to keep away the pox. The miasma keeps the air fresh that I breathe, repels the contaminated air.
Contaminated air? From, like, the people you treat or something?
Possibly. Have you not heard?
Probably not. Like, just now into town.
Vistani, of course. The Raven has had an outbreak of pox. It's reported to have reached Tanweir, and it's only a matter of time before it crosses the Gyre. We must be prepared. No one else seems to care in this town, but it won't be getting me. I'm the only one who can treat anyone.
Makes sense. Is that why you're wearing the...
Precautionary, yes.
Cool. I mean, the intimidating factor is, like, awesome. I really like it.
Thank you.
You got it. Anyway, Val, I think I've done enough talking, and it's, like, not working, so how about you talk?
Val kind of...
I don't think that's going to be possible.
Jesus Christ. Val kind of looks a bit indignant at that. Like, if he could say anything, he would, but that's literally physically not possible.
At least, not
so
yet.
He just...
Can we talk later, then? Or you and him, of course, because I'm annoying.
Val kind of, at that, kind of is beyond stunned, kind of looking at the doctor before, like, writing down, what do you mean?
It's not finished. I wasn't. Come with me. You can come as well. And he will go back to the back room, this small little dimly lit workshop. First you're hit with these, like, alchemical smells and plants, and there's a tinge of rot, both flesh and plant, that have built up in the air. It doesn't seem as though he can tell. Tubes and wires and all sorts of things, little beakers and flames that are burning and bubbling. You see he's got a small, just wooden, not corkboard exactly, but like a small board, and there's a frog on it that's been, like, stretched out and its limbs pinned down as it's partially dissected. This is not my area, but I've been researching. In Nephalia, there are creatures in the sea able to regenerate limbs. Certain lizards, when their tails are cut off, it regrows. I believe through alchemy this is possible. So far, I've only been successful in reattaching a single finger to a man who lost it. This was several weeks back. I'm working as hard as I can. Late nights.
It seems like it. This is impressive. Are you documenting your findings? I'd love to read it someday.
Someday, perhaps. For now, it's all up here. I can't risk this information getting out. It's questionable at best.
Makes sense. It's impressive.
He puts his hand onto Val's shoulder, the one that has the stub of the arm. I make no promises, and I can't guarantee how much time it will take, if it's even possible. Alchemy is more of an art than a science. And unfortunately, I have no means of channeling magic. It's one of the components I lack.
Could we help? We have some people that can, especially healing magic and stuff. That's the sort of thing you need?
I've seen your group. They would not approve.
Maybe not, but they would want to help Acrio. And Val, of course.
The one with the internal gut issue.
Exactly.
I noticed he too was missing a limb.
And he's pretty upset about it. So if there's anything you can do, we would grab it with both arms.
Unfortunately, as I said, I can't regrow anything yet. It's something I'm working on. You would have to have the components back.
We do have that.
With shaky hands, what components do you need?
The original flesh, of course. Beyond a state of decay.
Yeah, that was
As I said, I'm working on more extensive treatments. Give it time.
We're sorry for interrupting your work. I just thought you could want to see a couple of friendly faces through all the death and drawn up frogs.
This work is important, despite how grueling it may be.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you now. Do I believe everything he's saying?
Make an insight check.
Especially about
with disadvantage
why he's wearing his
because
getup.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm bad.
Cillian, it's very hard to get a read on this person. You're used to observing facial cues and that sort of thing. The only thing you know for sure is, well, actually that would depend. Did Acrio show anyone the letter that he had received from Frederick?
I think Lorelei saw.
Yeah, so without that knowledge, it's really questionable, and you don't have any means of confirming.
What did I see? Oh yeah, right.
We do not want to take up much more of your day. If you're ever open to, I don't know, drinking some tea with us, I'd love to hear it.
Val this like a whole lot for him to take in, to process. Like he's visibly shaking, but kind of tries to maintain a somewhat level head as he eventually kind of looks at the doctor, writing once more. Do you have something for venom remedies?
You're so smart, Val. I completely fucking forgot.
Snake bites and such. Spiders, what are we talking about specifically?
Insects. But up to level 10.
That's a bit vague.
It is vague.
Val makes like a gesture with like one arm to like indicate that it's something big, like way bigger than like a normal insect.
Possibly. Not sure really what you're talking about. I could provide something, but who knows if it would be useful. I would need more information.
Remind me, did Amrita show everyone the sketches she made, or
Which ones are you referring to? The crawler or the?
the crawlers. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Val would try like in like as few words as he can manage, but still kind of trying to be more or less close to what he saw. Like try to describe the insects.
I mean, her notes said carrion crawler. You could
Oh,
write
okay.
that.
Then yeah, he'll just do that. Yeah, that's much easier.
But it's a question of do you want to tell him that there's
Mhm.
one of those in the area?
I mean, Val would begin to write it down unless Cillian stops him. Then
Cillian was definitely not going to tell him himself, but he feels like the doctor won't just, I don't know, tell everyone. So he doesn't stop it.
Okay.
You've witnessed a fair amount of secrets this guy has kept for who knows how long.
Exactly.
So yeah, discretion seems to be the better part of valor.
Yeah.
He'll like take the paper and spin it around so that he can look at it, brings his hand to his mask, like looking like he wants to scratch his face, but realizing, slowly moves his hand down. These creatures attack the mind. I have means of countering it somewhat, but more interestingly, would you be able to gain a sample of their mucus? I would pay generously for any vials you could obtain. Biggest problem I have with patients is those who squirm.
We'd need some vials.
This I could provide. I would gladly option them for the results.
Yeah, we can try at least. We've done some research on them, and I don't think it's advantageous to get too close. Is it still harvestable after they're dead?
Its effects linger for quite some time.
Okay. Yeah, we
as
can
long
bring
as
you
it's
some.
not diluted.
And I think it speaks for itself that it might not be advantageous for this to get out. People don't like their relatives being eaten.
People don't like being paralyzed. It's a necessary evil.
Sure.
Prevents a lot of kicking and screaming. There's like a smile in his voice behind the mask.
This guy is not making it easy.
It's like, yeah, we should trust them. I like to watch them scream as they can't move a muscle. But they feel it all.
Nothing wrong with that.
Do you have some of the antitoxins already ready, or would you need to prepare them?
Oh no, this would be special. I could devote the afternoon to it. Here, take these. And he'll give you a bundle of like 10 glass vials that he'll just like collects up with his hands. Fill as many of these as you possibly can.
Grab them all. Anyway, we'll be off then, making preparations. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry we've taken so much. Thank you for your extra time. Wow, we're dicks. I realize. I'm sorry.
I implore you to keep all of this quiet. Until it's ready, people will have suspicions.
Oh well. What I might tell my friends. Are you okay with that? They won't tell.
Will
They need some
be
good news.
involved in
Acrio.
the carrion crawler collection?
Yes.
Then I suppose it's only reasonable.
By the way, now we're talking. What do you think about the people in the town and stuff? Notice anything weird?
Strangely fat.
Exactly. Any ideas? Because I mean, they eat a lot, but not that much, right?
Silbern is surprisingly well stocked.
Okay.
I think people around here are honestly just a bit lazy.
Well, they seem to be. Are we off, Val? Or was there something else?
Val kind of gestures for Cillian that he can like wait outside. He'll be like right after.
Oh, sure. Send me away. Yeah, I'm fine. I'll wait outside. See you in a sec. I'll go outside.
They'll just kind of, for a very long time, looks at like the apparition for like the research that the doctor has and everything, in kind of his mangled throat, before kind of looking back at the doctor, inquire if like not only is like arm reattachment, but possibly like restoration of his voice.
I can't speak to the limits, only the limitations currently. Suffice to say, I aim for total regeneration. But don't get your hopes too high. I hadn't mentioned it for a reason.
Kind of getting up, seems to write a final note that he kind of pushes towards the doctor as he kind of leaves the room, which just reads, "I'm sorry for doubting you."
He reads it, but doesn't reply.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, then Val just kind of moves after Cillian.
I'm sorry for being so brazen, by the way, as we're walking back. Annoyed people tend to tell the truth, you know? Tend to tell you what they think of you. So that's most of the time why I start conversations like that. To, I don't know, bring something out, make sure they're telling some things. They tend to say something back, at least. And I'm sorry for doubting him. I do think he's doing good, especially since he's researching those things. Might be a bit fucked up in some ways. And he just keeps rambling on like that until I'm back with the group.
Well, just kind of listens, kind of not overly interacting with what he's saying, but just kind of glad that like someone is doing the talking, someone is like filling the void, so to speak.
Lorelei, you find yourself ducking under the sudsy water as far as you possibly can, as Samantha runs a sponge down your arm, kind of like lifting your hand out of the water to clean the mud and grime from under your fingernails.
Yeah, she didn't think this far ahead.
Wait a
Like-
fucking second.
So we're like, you can just turn my arm over. You don't have to look at that.
Oh, fuck.
Everybody's got their scars. Just not all of them are outside. I was
Indeed.
going to mention it if you didn't want to bring it up.
I forget that it's there. People don't usually see it, so.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Well, yeah. I don't get that close to people too often, so.
I don't want to pry, but I heard you were out at Coop's ranch the other night for dinner. Did you happen to see his wife?
No, actually. I didn't. Why?
Well, I haven't been out there in a while. She's my aunt, and Regina. Yeah. Nobody's really talked to her in quite a while. I mean, she comes into town for church, but I think she's slipping a bit.
Oh no. Had she come to church more recently?
I mean, every Sunday, Coop brings her out, but
I mean, me and my friends were planning on going to. I was going to go introduce him to him because I went on my own, and my friends were like, "We really want to meet him," so I'm taking my friends there. I could maybe see if we can meet her as well.
that'd be nice. I'm so busy in town these days.
Oh yeah, so busy.
And you can see she's got this apron on, but she's like removed her blouse to not get it too wet, so she's covered, but like with a basic apron. You can see her arms have like these blemishes, maybe warts. You're not entirely sure.
Oh fuck. Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
It just dawned on me too.
Yeah.
She's looking for like any kind of distraction, so she's like, I don't want to be rude, but is that like a skin condition? Does that hurt?
Oh, no, not really. It's not contagious. Don't you worry.
Oh no, I'm pretty handy with herbalism and stuff. I might have been able to, throw together like a salve or something if it was irritating,
Well, that's awfully generous of you.
Well, returning the favor.
Yeah, Doc Miller said it's a result of my time upstairs.
Oh.
Not really sure if there's anything that can be done about it, but you go along and get along.
Oh gosh. So it doesn't irritate you at all? You're okay?
I don't want to bother you with it.
Well, I've bothered you with this, so it's only fair, really.
It's worse in some places than others.
So I'm guessing you've seen the doctor for it. He didn't say there was anything that could be done for it?
Did what he could, but I mean, I can only afford so much.
Oh, so it's a cost thing.
And it ain't really a cure thing. You just symptoms. Deal with them as they come.
I'll keep my eyes out. I'll see what I can do.
I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Sinks further below the water. Tries to self-drown.
And as Lorelei is sinking beneath the water, that is where the curtain is going to drop on this week's session.
Holy fucking shit.